Hey everybody, hope your day is going well. Talking about days, we're going to find out how an ancient Athenian spent his day. I've been to Athens when I was around 12. I really enjoyed that. Love history, the Acropolis, the Parthenon, all of that. The food. Oh, man. So let's see. I felt like learning today. Thank you for joining me.
It's 427 BCE, and the worst internal conflict ever to occur in the ancient Greek world is in its fourth year. The Peloponnesian War is being fought between the city-states of Athens and Sparta, as well as their allies. The Athenians can't match the formidable Spartan army on land, so they've abandoned the countryside and moved inside the walls surrounding their city and port, now provisioned by a superior fleet and extensive maritime empire.
Man,
The cramped conditions have taken a toll, and a recent plague wiped out a third of the population, but city life goes on. Archias and Dexalea live in the center of Athens. As a painter of high-class pottery, Archias is relatively well off and takes great interest in the city's affairs. Dexalea, on the other hand, can't participate in politics or own property. The couple are grateful to the gods that 3 of their 4 children, a son and 2 daughters, have survived past infancy.
yeah.
Many parents see
And if you think about it, there's a lot of turmoil going on today, and yes, there's a lot of suffering, tremendous suffering, and injustice. You can highlight many of the bad things, but here, you can contrast some of the things that people used to have to deal with, and say, okay, I think we have a lot of improvement. Uh, we at least in the Western world, a lot of us are able to live uh, at least a better life than an ancient Athenian. Huh? Or if you were a rich Athenian, maybe not, but still, surviving past infancy, that was already a feat on its own, and now we don't have that. It's not as common anymore. So yeah, man, because that's already scary enough becoming a parent, and in these days, those days, oof, wow, yeah.
daughters as a liability, since they require dowries to find husbands. But Archias is confident that his wealth will allow him to make good matches for them without going bankrupt. Like many Athenians, the family owns slaves. Originally from Thrace, they were captured in war. Thrata does most of the housework and helps raise the children. Philon is a pedagogos who supervises the son's education, teaching him reading and writing. Archias is up early because there's a meeting of the ecclesia, the assembly of citizens, taking place at dawn. Before setting out, he burns incense and pours a libation at the small shrine in the courtyard on behalf of his entire household. Dexalea will remain at home all day, teaching her daughters domestic skills. Later,
This is, of course, the life of a well-faring ancient Athenian. I would be interested in hearing. We hear about slavery. We hear about, maybe more poor people. What is a day in the life like for them? Dang, history is so interesting, man. And yeah, if we only had a time machine, I would love to go back and just zoom over some of these times and see what it was actually like.
she'll retire to the inner courtyard for some fresh air. When Archias arrives at the Agora, the civic and commercial heart of the city, he finds the square swarming with his fellow citizens, native-born adult males who have completed military training. Attached to the central monument is a notice board with the meeting's agenda. Today, there's only one item of discussion: what to do with the people of Mytilene, a city on the island of Lesbos where a revolt against Athenian rule has just been put down. The meeting takes place on a hill west of the Acropolis, known as the Pnyx. The word means tightly packed, and the crowd of 5,000 citizens makes it clear why. The heralds purify the hill by sprinkling its boundary with pig's blood and call for
Hmm?
order.
I never
As
knew that.
everyone sits on benches facing the platform, the presiding officer opens the meeting with the words, Tis agoreven boulete, who wishes to address the assembly? One by one, citizens speak, some advising mercy, others bent on vengeance. A motion is proposed to execute all the Mytilenaeans and enslave their women and children because they betrayed
Gee,
their Athenian allies during a time of war.
that's
A
some dark
majority
stuff.
raises their right hands in favor. Once the meeting's over, Archias heads back
That's always, people far away from a different class, that's still a little bit the same, right? They will decide the fate of the many, the will of the few, fate of the many, which is, is still frustrating today, right? People sitting up in their uh, offices and just talking about other people's lives like it's nothing, whether it's, you know, going to war or, crippling them financially, to make their own profit. Ugh. Oh, man. In that aspect, not a lot has changed, huh?
to the Agora to buy food and wine. Hundreds have gathered there to discuss the results, many unhappy with the decision. When Archias returns home, he tells Dexilea about the debate. She thinks that killing the innocent as well as the guilty is harsh and counterproductive, and tells him as much.
Collective punishment
Around
doesn't
dusk,
work.
Archias goes to a friend's house for a symposium. The 9 men drink wine and discuss the meeting well into the night. Archias shares his wife's opinion, urging mercy, and his friends eventually agree. Before dawn, something unprecedented happens. Heralds circulate throughout Athens, announcing the council has called another meeting. The second debate is equally heated, but a new resolution to execute only the leaders of the revolt narrowly passes. Yet there's a problem. A ship with orders to carry out the first resolution was dispatched the previous
Oh,
day. And so another ship quickly sets sail to countermand the order. A race
you're gonna
of
have to go
democracy
really
against
fast.
time. Did you enjoy this glimpse of daily
Oh, what
life in an
happened?
ancient civilization? If so, check out our Day in the Life playlist.
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed this video, but I want to know what happened. Now I'm gonna have to look that up. I love reading about these things too, of course, and I've read quite a few books, but there's so many on topics of history and so many time periods to focus on. And yeah, man, I love reading about it. So if you have any recommendations, but for videos too that we could check out, please let me know. Love learning this way and sharing and hearing from other people who know about this topic. And hey, maybe you know what happened. Let me know if you know. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. Goodbye.